Hello and welcome to 2020. It is time for the UKLC. My name is Jake Matthews and I'm joined by the ever gorgeous Dan Orks Harrison. How you doing, mate?
I'm good. I'm hyped to be back.
Oh, baby, I'm well excited to be back. I walked into the studio today, saw the pinks and purples, and I actually got very excited. I got really, a weird, nervous energy came over me, and I was like, I'm back home, baby. I'm back home.
We've returned, and we have so many new players, so many new rosters, so much more tier list drama, all that good stuff.
I mean, it wouldn't be the UK without tier list drama. There wasn't actually as much this season round, and I was kind of a little bit disappointed. Maybe I just dodged it all and it did not show up on my Twitter feed, but was there more than I only saw like 3 or 4 tier lists, and a lot of people were like, yeah, right, actually.
There wasn't actually that much tier listing because the roster announcements were quite late. So
yeah.
It kept it secret, kept it surprise, and then they all came out of nowhere.
No one wanted to have a bad tier list, so they all waited till the last minute.
That's how you prevent the tier list drama. You just don't release the rosters ever, and then no one knows the players, and then no one can actually criticize them.
Well, let's have a little look at who is playing here in the UKLC, because we previously had 9 teams. We've now shifted, trimmed some fat a little bit, and we're down to 8. So we have Fnatic Rising, Enclave Gaming, Feeling Gaming, Barrage Esports, Envision Esports, BTXL, M&M Gaming, and Demise as our 8 teams here in the UK League Championship. Now, are any teams you've seen the tier lists for, you've seen their rosters for, that you're excited for here?
I think Envision's made a big change up. Obviously, we know that Envision essentially got knocked out of the UK in the promotion relegations. They've returned, and their roster is formidable. You'll recognize names like Shikari in the top lane, who is been part of the organization that has won for the last 5 splits. Prosper's returned from Korea, having gotten Challenger, and he's paired up with young talent Yusa, Nolty, and they brought Adept in the mid lane. That's a formidable roster, but it's not the only one. We have Barrage, who've imported a top laner from North America in Flares, a jungler from Oceania in Cybele, and I mean, Demise as well. We see the return of Kerberos paired up with Monkeys as well. There's so much to talk about. There's so many interesting roster changes, and I feel like the level has definitely stepped up. I think last split, we did suffer from quite a bit of a top-heavy split where it was essentially Fnatic and XL beating everyone else up. But now it looks like the other orgs have said they want to punch back. And
what I'm really liking is we've had a little bit of a change here in the UKLC. The tower has crumbled and we are now moving on to a double round robin. We're not going to say anything about that. But what it does mean is we do get to see, all of the teams play each other, twice. So we get a good idea of who kind of places where. We're not going to have XL versus Fnatic to end every week again. We'll only get to see that matchup twice, and that means that matchup between Fnatic and XL, because they are on paper, are stronger teams here in the UKLC. It means those matches really matter. It's not that you're like 15 points a bunch ahead of the rest of the pack. I mean, teams like Envision look very strong, and every win is going to be a little bit more important for you, because you're not going to have that, top of the tower extra points kind of putting a bit of distance between you and third place. You and third place could realistically be quite close to each other now.
Yeah, and I think the fighting between the non-academy orgs is going to be a big factor as well, because it's not just challenging them, it's also the fact that, yes, Envision's got a new roster, Demise are also looking formidable, Barrage. There's lots of teams who have stepped things up and will be looking to fight for those last spots. And I think today alone, we have 3 matchups that I think are going to be really close between the 2 rosters. I do think our first matchup would definitely be an upset if Enclave did win it up against Fnatic, but overall, we should have a load of exciting games to split.
Well, let's have a little look at the rundown and see who is playing who today on day 1 of the UKLC. Be starting the day off with Fnatic versus Enclave. Number 2 will be Feeling versus Barrage. Then we'll have Envision versus BTXL, and we'll be rounding the day out with M&M Gaming versus Demise.
Yeah, so across the board, I think Game 2, Barrage against Feeling, it is Barrage favoured, but Barrage are a bit of a wild card at the moment with importing these players. It's hard to get a read on them, so Feeling definitely could challenge. Game 3 is the big one of the day. Envision with their new revamped roster against BTXL, who have changed very little other than moving Deadly over from his place in Giant, so had a successful EU Masters run. And the final game, Demise against M&M, is really testing these rosters out and seeing where they sort of stand. And I think they should on paper at least be fairly evenly matched. Game 1, though, Enclave versus Fnatic is definitely an uphill battle for the Enclave roster.
Game 4 genuinely interests me, because we look at M&M from last season, and they were a team who, were always clearly the 3rd best team in the league. They were far behind XL and Fnatic in points, but they were clearly above the other 4 teams, at least in the regular split anyway. But this time round, I feel like there isn't a defined third best team. There isn't a defined middle of the pack this time. It does feel like some of these teams, some of these rosters look like they are very formidable. It's not the who's going to kill the Academy team first kind of thing. It looks like the Academy teams, it's not going to be quite as easy this time for them.
And that's what's actually made the tier list interesting and has made probably less drama, because you can have takes that actually are controversial in the fact that it's not just the Academy teams at the top. Last split, it was essentially Fnatic, XL, and that was just a decided stuck order. XL did challenge, but it wasn't quite enough. But now, I mean, you could realistically put several different orgs at the top. And at this point now, it's hard to really say how it will turn out because there's been so many changes in the league.
Well, it's time to delve into our first matchup of the day. Fnatic Rising versus Enclave. Obviously, Fnatic are the defending champions of the UKLC title. They got 2 back-to-back victories last year, looking to make it the hat trick here in spring. We'll have to see if Enclave can put something, in their way to start the season out. But on paper today, this looks like probably the most one-sided game. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, I think definitely is. I think the other are a bit more even. I think any matchup against the reigning champions is going to be favored towards them. I think Enclave, though, their roster on paper, it isn't the most impressive. There are some shining lights, though. I think only Angel, who, although he had some rough moments last split, he was a big part of some of Eminem's successes on his Aatrox. He could potentially be a challenge for Pride, because for me, Pride arguably is the weakest player on this Fnatic Rising roster. And that's not trying to slam him, but it's just you have the likes of Dan returning from the as a sub from the LEC. You have Magi-Felix, you have X-Madi. There's a lot of stars on this roster, so to be the weakest player on it isn't exactly a dig. But only Angel potentially could look to punish that matchup.
Alrighty, well, we're hammering through picks and bans here. We see the Soraka, obviously, has been a bit of a flexible top pick there. Sorry, pick there.
Flexible anyway. You can put a top, mid, AD carry. Well, obviously not AD carry, it'll be a bot, but a lot of
laner.
Yeah, a lot of strength in that Soraka pick that we've seen.
Throw the bananas real hard.
And that is a respect ban. The Taric away from Bravado. Something that he originally was one of the, not the creator, but one of the first sort of players of the Sona Taric combination, but he will play Taric with basically anything. So a respect ban coming out there. And then Lee Sin denied away from Cleanser.
Also seeing that Kiana ban as well. Don't want to see that go through. Now, Enclave, what is their final ban? What do they want to take away from the likes of Fnatic? There's still lots open to them. I'll have to see. It's going to be the Mordekaiser, but something that's not been touched at all in the ban phase is these AD carries. Now, typically, we've been seeing the Aphelios, the MF, and also the Senna as the high priority AD carries. All of those are open, so it's kind of who wants to take what really at the moment.
Yeah, Senna, Syndra, all available. And actually, Set going to come out as the first pick, which is an interesting one to me. I feel like you can have rough matchups with the Set. And I feel like although he is strong and he's been picked quite a bit, there are definitely weaknesses to the champion. But clearly Fnatic saying they're confident in taking this first and foremost. And I think one of the factors is because there are so many AD carries left available, there isn't this huge pressure that you have to lock in Senna right now because there would still be Aphelios and Misfortune available.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a statement really out of Pride here. He's going to be picking up something that wants to try and win lane, wants to go and fight only Angel. Enclave, they actually shift away from the free AD carries that were mentioned previously, and they're opting into the Lucian. But what's nice about the Lucian is it is a flexible pick. You can put it in that mid lane. So Enclave not really showing their hand with that Lucian pick. They may just, you can also run it top exactly. So there's lots of options for that. They are looking towards a jungler now with the Jarvan being left open, the Lee Sin banned away. Maybe it's what they want to go for. Are going to lock in the Aatrox here, so that kind of limits a little bit of that Lucian flex now.
Yeah, we saw a lot of Aatrox specifically into Set and also last split from Only Angel. So this makes complete sense to me. The matchup is decent into the Set.
Why is everyone offering Wukong? What is going on?
You have that element of mobility so you can avoid some of the damage, particularly the W from Set, which obviously is a lot of his damage output. So it's a decent matchup. We quickly see Fnatic Rising lock in the Sejuani for Dan and then the Leona for Bravado. So a lot of lockdown already. A lot of melee champions being picked up here. And if this Braum gets locked in, it makes a lot of sense to me because it can mitigate a lot of the melee champion strength. They get up in his face and he can apply that passive as well as a great synergy with Lucian.
Yeah, if they decide to run that Lucian bot lane. But you kind of think at this point, they might just want to just ban away some of these AD carries from Fnatic and force their hand and just put them onto something that they want. They want X-Mati to be playing here. So we'll have to see what they decide to ban. I would expect to see a bit of a pinch on those AD carries. And that's going to be the Senna ban to start it off.
Yeah, Senna and Aphelios both make complete sense. And obviously, Enclave have first priority. If they do want to put the Lucian somewhere else, they could take an AD carry in this first rotation. It would reveal the flexibility. but there is that option, of course. Or, in fact, they could just take the jungler, and then Fnatic would be completely unawares, and they could pick an AD carry later. Either way, a lot of flexibility. But mid still not being picked for Enclave, and by banning away the LeBlanc, it removes one of those safe blinds, and it may get to the point where you're forced to put the Lucian in mid lane to go to toe-to-toe with whatever Magifelix takes, because by all means, Magifelix is one of the formidable mid laners in the league, and if you don't take a good matchup into him, he may just end up farming you.
Well, they are going to take away the Cassiopeia, so the Aphelios and the MF have been left open. Again, we don't know where that Lucian's going, so they can get the prick of the bunch if they want to put a different AD carry in the bot lane and Lucian mid. However, they don't want to deal with that Cassiopeia, don't want to give any kind of scaling over that Magifelix. That's going to be the least ban away here from Fnatic Rising. Don't want to have any early ganking opportunities open as the Lee Sin's also been taken away. But that Jarvan that was hovered earlier is still being left open. There's a few other options, so let's see what Enclave decide to lock in here.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, you could take the Jarvan this early, but you don't really have any great targets for you to isolate so far. It's sort of playing on a hunch that they will show up. But instead going to go through the Olaf, and I think this is the stronger pick. It's great with the Braum. We talk about this all the time. The level 1 invades with the Braum Olaf is really formidable. You into a Sejuani, who one of her big strengths is a CC, which isn't going to function against the Olaf. So far, I think it's some intelligent picks coming out from Enclave and Fnatic Rising. This is where they're going to lock in their carries for Magifelix and Xmadi, two of the strongest players. And Syndra is something that's flown all the way through this draft at this point. It's good bot, it's good mid, synergizes well with the Leona. Actually would kind of prefer to see a melee mid laner come out here and then have the Syndra as a bot laner, because that way it synergizes so well with the Sejuani.
Oh, we're going to have to see what they decide to pick here for the side of Fnatic. So they are thinking over a few different bits. There's the Wukong once again. I just kind of hope someone picks it in the end. We're not prior to whatever jokes were going on in Champ Select. They are going to go for the Ezreal. Now, me and you had a bit of chat about Ezreal yesterday. I was saying Ezreal's always, he's kind of like a weaker version of Orianna in the sense that you can always kind of fit him in somewhere.
And I disagree
and you
completely
shut me down. You're like, no, Jake, you're an idiot.
Yeah, Ezreal's the sort of champion
Xmadi agrees with me. That's all I'm saying.
He can completely dictate metas when he's powerful. Obviously, we had that double tier phase where he was super strong, but right now, there isn't really a great keystone for him with Kleptomancy being removed. I've seen some people who have gone Conqueror, but obviously that's been nerfed. Some people have gone Omnistone, but that one's still a fringe one. I guess the idea here is you're picking something that's a pretty safe AD carry into the Ezreal Braum lane, but you're giving up a lot of pressure. And I'm not too big of a fan of the Ezreal pick, but I know it's something that Xmadi is really formidable with. I do like the Echo, however, it's a counter pick into the Syndra. This 2v2 mid-jungle from Enclave specifically just counters Fnatic Rising's 2v2 because Olaf Echo just makes Syndra's life hell. And even more than that, it's extremely good against the Ezreal because if you Arcane Shift and he dashes to you with his E, it will follow your Arcane Shift and then you're in such a bad situation.
Alrighty, well, the teams are locked in. We're starting to see how this is going to be looking. I'm really, really curious to see Pride here in the top laners. You know, you had your question marks about him. You're saying, obviously, the rest of the Fnatic team is a very strong team. We know these players, but Pride, a little bit of an unknown on this roster. He's picked himself the set. He really has to put the work in on this champion because if set falls behind, if set can't close those gaps, it gets really, really rough.
I think it's just into the Aatrox. I feel like if this matchup snowballs either way, it's going to be formidable. You obviously have a lot you can do with a set.
Yeah.
In terms of if he has a ton of front loader damage, if he gets in the middle of the team, you can use his W and just melt people. His ultimate is a really powerful team fighting tool, but against an Aatrox, if he's allowed to get fed, will just run rampant in the game. So a lot of pressure put onto Pride here. He was first picked for, so hopefully he can perform to that. And I think particularly it's not just that, it's the fact that you have Ezreal for Xmadi, which is, it's not the most aggressive pick. It essentially is a defensive pick in the bot lane compared to the Lucian Braum. You have the Syndra, who's in a rough matchup mid. I feel overall, a lot of weight has been put on Pride's shoulders. And the fact he has a Sejuani working with him as a melee champion, I expect to see Dan put some attention down there.
One thing I want to note is some of the keystones being picked up. You were talking about what Ezreal's like to take at the moment, and it is that Conqueror. We do see Xmadi pick that up. Magifelix has opted into the phase rush. Obviously wants that extra movement speed to deal with the likes of air on the Echo, but we're taken to Summoner's Rift. The UKLC starts here. Fnatic Rising, the defending champions, versus Enclave.
It's actually a really confident sort of Summoner and Keystone choice by Magifelix. So the Ignite means that in those 2v2s, you're going to have a lot more strength than a TP. coming out from Echo. And also on top of that, the phase rush actually works really well against them. It's very easy for the Syndra to proc. And once it does, a big aspect of the Olaf is obviously his slows. He doesn't have any hard CC. And the Echo as well, also his Time Winder will apply slows. If you have that phase rush, not only do you get movement speed, but you get slow resistance. So this might be MagiFelix understanding he's in a rough matchup, but he's sort of put himself in a position where he's wanting to outplay the matchup difficulty.
Alrighty, well, Dan's looking to start up on this red side now. Jungle camps have changed a little bit since we last had the UKLC, and we're seeing a bit of different pathing coming out from our junglers. A lot of people put priority on the Grump, gives you the most kind of XP per time invested. So we expect to see a few different kind of clear patterns come out. Now, some people will be doing double buffs into Grump, that gives you level 3. Some people like to do their chickens as well. You can see here, Cleanser is actually moving up to the top side. He's picking up his red buff, and then he's going straight towards his Krugs. Looks like Dan is also doing the same thing.
Yeah, it's pretty understandable coming out from Sejuani. You're essentially going to go for a pretty heavy defensive clear, and by starting the bot side, he can path towards the top, which is where we want to see that attention onto Pride on this set. As for Cleanse on the Olaf, going to be interesting to see where he first starts applying pressure. MagiFelix pushing up pretty heavily in this lane, trading with air and pushing the wave up. You can see he gets engaged on there.
Yeah, and he's just able to turn it around.
Well,
That phase rush doing a lot of work for him in air. He's just going to get poked out of the lane.
Still has a lot of biscuits and that corrupting potion, but that goes both ways. It's going to be interesting when we do see that first gang from the Olaf, and if it is mid, if they can pressure MagiFelix, it's going to be huge. But the power of that phase rush, it means it's very easy to dodge the axes, and even if they connect, it's not going to do that much against you. Mobility comes in huge, especially against the Echo as well, because if you get hit by that stun, it's 2.25 seconds. But if you have that extra movement speed, it's pretty hard to land it.
All right, well, push coming in this top side. Only Angel should be able to equalize out this CS deficit. All right, he's going to just go for a Haymaker, trying to find himself a little bit of additional damage. Didn't have any grit, so didn't going to do too much here.
That's the thing with that ability, though. I mean, obviously not now at level 3, but you do max it first. So even with no grit, you can just spam it with a short cooldown once you've got some CDR. And it does a pretty effective long-range trade, especially if you hit with the true damage. So you see Dan on the top side going for the Skull, and it's matched on the other side by Cleanser.
Now, what you do see is obviously Cleansers towards this bot side. They've picked the Sejuani. They want to help a melee lane. The only melee lane really is Pride. Obviously, Bravado can help proc the permafrost, but realistically, we do expect to see Dan maybe try and make some kind of moves onto Only Angel here in the top lane. Only Angel previously on M&M last season, and personally, I was really impressed with his performance. He had been away from League of Legends for a year, taken a break, made his return, and Aatrox was a signature pick for him on his return last year.
Yeah, his Aatrox was really good. There were moments where he played other things which weren't as good. Like, I remember Jason to Shikari's Ornn, where he got solo killed twice. That was a bit of an unlucky one. So hopefully being able to overcome those consistency issues. Right now, this wave is in a really bad spot for him. It's pushing towards Pride. He has to walk up to contest the minions, which is why you can see Cleanser running straight here. They expect this gank to be coming in.
Oh, he saw the permafrost attach there. Pride's looking to go in, has that face breaker, gets the stun. They're going to get the permafrost off. He flashes away, but the permafrost pins him in place. And Pride, unable to find the kill. He gets pulled back into tower, but it's not going to find its mark. Cleanser flashes forward, and Pride is burning low. Enclave with first blood.
And what a misplay coming out from Fnatic Rising. Dan, who has had time in the LEC, goes so aggressive on that one, and they're just not able to find the damage. Only Angel just gets away. Now Bravado's stunned up.
Bravado's getting locked down, but actually, it looks like Dorky's going to get killed. Bravado finds himself the pick here. The Heathen has a long way away to go before he gets to his tower. He gets stunned up, and next Maddie picks himself a kill. Fnatic got themselves 2 back in return. They're having a trade here versus MagiFelix. MagiFelix is able to proc the phase rush. He just walks out of there.
Yeah, loving the aggression coming out from Fnatic's bot lane. They should not be winning this matchup, this 2v2. But Xmadi on Ezreal is a treat to watch. So good on this champion, and Bravado consistently proccing his passive and landing those stuns. Just as things start to look a little bit dire in the top side for Fnatic, a bit of weakness around Pride and Dan in their ganking, Xmadi and Bravado popping off in that 2v2. Bit of an unfortunate start for the Heathen and Dirking.
I was calling him Dorking in that fight.
Dirking. He actually spoke to me before the game today.
Oh, did he?
He said sometimes he's been mistaken for Dark King, and it's not that, it's Dirking.
It's Dirking. I called him Dorking. Now, Maddie's actually from the same town as me, which is Guildford.
You mentioned this.
And down the road from us, there is a town called Dorking. It's kind of boring and full of old people, so I just assumed you wanted to murder him for that. Ignite's come onto air here. Doesn't use... Yeah, he's dead.
Probably should have flashed earlier, is all I'm going to say. And despite the fact he's in a counter matchup, take a look at that CS difference in the mid lane. MagiFelix doesn't believe in counter matchups unless he's playing them.
MagiFelix is the counter matchup as Pride actually just punches Only Angel around a little bit here. 2 mechs.
It's a little bit of mid difference right now.
Just a tad. I mean, the gold on your screen, you can see it right now. MagiFelix is
this is where I fundamentally see the difficulty in this matchup at Enclave, because I think they came in with a pretty intelligent draft, and I think between two teams of equal strength, on paper they could have won this game. But I think the issue is that there's a massive skill disparity, and yes, you may have a good pick into the Syndra, but MagiFelix shows a massive mastery of the champ, willing to go the phase rush, which keeps him safe. And in the bot lane, sure, I don't really rate Ezreal in this meta, but Xmadi on Ezreal is just something else entirely.
Enclave were able to pick up that Infernal Drake. That's the one thing going for them. For anyone who's not been tuning into League of Legends, you've been under a rock. But we have changed out the Drakes. So 4 Drakes will give you a soul. After the 3rd Drake, it will be only 1 type of Drake spawning up. So we're not going to get Inferno Soul to start us off here. We'll see what the next Drake is.
Lovely brawl mechanics. Press E, block the ult. Love to see it. You see gang potentially coming in here for air.
Yeah, air's actually going to get pinned down, slowed down, and the permafrost is to lock him down. MagiFelix, he gets himself his 2nd kill.
That's a bit rough.
Just a tad.
Ult was coming up in a couple of seconds, but not in time for air. And this kind of matchup really has not worked out at all. Fnatic with a massive 2,000 gold lead already.
Pride is just taking this fight with Only Angel. He can stack that grit up. The Haymaker's going to do a lot of damage to him here. Does dodge out on it.
So that's actually something you can do into the Aatrox. If you get right up in his face, even that final 3rd Q, the hitbox is slightly in front of you. So that 3rd Q, despite the fact that Pride was right next to him, he didn't hit him with the sweet spot, and it meant that Only Angel just couldn't really create
not being spotted. He still has that Solar Flare, looks for the Zenith Blade. World Ender is used by Only Angel, and Pride, max grit, but low health.
Nice throw coming out from Bravado, unfortunately nothing to come from it. Does mean that Dan has safety when focused around this Herald. That's one of the strengths of Ezreal, very good at playing on the weak side. You can leave him alone, and he can stay safe with that Arcane Shift, but it does sacrifice some plates here, and a big wave of farm for Xmadi. So Fnatic investing heavily in this top side of the map. It's what we said they should do. It's something you want to play for when you pick this Ezreal. But so far, I feel like mid lane is the biggest beneficiary of just MagiFelix being MagiFelix.
Now let's have Bravado's looking for a play here. Not going to find it. King does send him packing.
Illy Moby boots the advantage from that 2v2 with the extra gold picked up. And it's one of the strengths that you can roam. And there's a lot of vision control coming out actually from Enclave here. But it's just safe paths being taken by Bravado through their own jungle. The mobility boots mean he can still make it in a reasonable time. And he goes top and he can return and still apply pressure to this Enclave bot lane. And have to be concerned because as soon as they don't have vision, there's potential for the Leonis to turn up. And we saw earlier they do not win the 2v2.
Wave's going to get pushed in here into the side of Enclave. Xmadi jumps forward. Once again, Only Angel and Pride just having a bit of a scrap here. He's going to get himself the knock up. The Infernal Chains do find their mark, and Only Angel landing those Darkened Blade strikes, but Pride stacking up the Haymaker, finds the pick, goes in with the ultimate RKO out of nowhere. Pride gets himself a kill. 5-1 Fnatic at 10 minutes.
That's what we're looking to see, and Cleanser could be in trouble here.
He can cleanse the ult with his own. He's going to use it. The Ragnarok means he's not going to be CC'd for long.
So I've definitely been on the back foot though, and a great solo kill coming out from Pride. I had concerns. On paper, arguably the weakest player on Fnatic Rising, but a good start on this set. Managing to take out Only Angel.
Curious to see if he goes in for the Bloodthirster or... sorry, not the Bloodthirster, the Blade of the Ring. Triforce, or Black Cleaver, got my words out eventually. Now Dan, looking for an opening onto Heathen. Xmatty firing away underneath. With a bit of help from his team. Heathen's going to go golden. He is trapped inside the solar flare. And Dan's going to be able to pick that kill up nice and easy. Great snipe onto the back line. The teleport's coming in. Xmatty's going to be able to shift out. The teleport's completed. And actually, Air has to use the ultimate. Magic Felix is just running him down inside the slow zone. Is going to get himself a bit of a shield and a stun off as Magic Felix looks for more. Air's teleport is interrupted, but he's almost killed for it.
But just some great skirmishing coming out from Fnatic Rising. I feel like this is the skill disparity we expected. Braum, Lucian are really good skirmishers. Olaf is a huge skirmisher. That's what you pick these champs for. In these 3v3 scenarios, they should crush it. But Fnatic just play around it so well, layering their CC effectively onto the Braum. Xmatty just feels like he's never able to be targeted. He's always positioned in a way where he's so difficult to punish on his Ezreal. And the question is going to be, what can Enclave do? 5,000 gold is a difference already right now. They are looking for this Mountain Dragon, and it's on a reset, but this is a pretty typical thing to come out from teams. Gold in the early game is more important than these dragons. So sure, they give over 2 dragons to Enclave. They really aren't concerned. The Infernal and the Mountain don't actually give that much in terms of stats. I'd much rather have the 5,000 gold lead, especially when Pride knocking on this first tower. With only Angel on the other side of the map, no competition for this.
Yeah, it's going to be a second tower here for Fnatic. Pride has got that sheen as well, so he's going into the Triforce build. He's going for the kind of 1v1 and the split push build. Maybe some gold for him as well. And that's 2 full towers with plates. Fnatic have been able to get themselves 11 plates in this game. The gold lead, as you can see, reflects that. 23,000 gold to 18,000 gold. Massively, massively far ahead here for Fnatic Rising.
Yeah, pretty crushing difference. It's difficult. It's difficult to see the avenue where they come back in this game. Flank situations would be a massive one, but right now there's so much gold available to the likes of Magic Felix and Xmatty. I feel like if you do try and find a flank, they'll just blow you up. I think right now, at 12 minutes into the game, this much of a gold lead just feels insurmountable. So all it's going to come down to is Enclave just stalling the game out until they can contest this, and until the gold lead is less relevant compared to the total gold available in the game. Because right now, I mean, that much gold difference, it's like at least half a night in between every single member, if not more.
Well, you can see, finished Manamune for Xmatty. Still needs to stack it up, but he's got that sheen as well in his pocket. Triforce onto Pride to just the Warhammer and the Kindle Gem for only Angel.
I mean, you look at Air, he's just literally got a Kindle Gem and Mick Treads. That is not the late game fantasy for an Echo.
He'd love to just have that Hextech Revolver or something to give him some trading capabilities, but just had to go for cooldown reduction, just had to go for health. Just deal with what Magic Felix is able to do to him. So now they're looking for maybe something here. Only Angel jumps into the middle. That's going to be Heathen, a 3-man knock-up. The Culling's channeled. Dan's tanking a lot of it. Bravado's going to go golden, but the health bars are already very, very low on the side of Envision. And Pride comes in with a dunk. A haymaker gets him a double kill. A triple kill to the new top laner for Fnatic Rising. And Xmatty, he's just going to chase Dorking out of there. He's going to have to run back towards his base, back towards safety. And now Air looks to jump onto Pride, but Magic Felix and the rest of the team can back him up. Has to use the Corona Break to get out, but the unleashed power will almost pick him up. A Scatter the Weak will connect. And Fnatic 11-1, an 8,000 gold lead.
Yeah, the UK reigning champions showing why they were the reigning champions for all of 2019. This just does not look fair.
That truly was a show-stopping ult there by Pride.
I understand the thought process from Enclave. They saw an opportunity where Xmatty was on the bot side, Pride was far in the top side. They thought maybe we can find a pick. We can force a skirmish 4v3. And unfortunately, they lost it massively. I think, I understand the thought process behind it. You feel like you have to force something. You don't just want to sit back and let the game be lost. But I feel like at this point, this isn't the time to do it. You're so far behind in gold. No one has a completed item on Enclave, apart from the jungler, and Warrior's super cheap anyway. Like, you just did not have the damage to even kill the support of Fnatic. I think they needed to wait a little bit longer before they go for that play. I think they rushed it too soon. Now the goal leads 8,000 at 15.5 minutes. This very one-sided game.
Here's the one thing, right, about Enclave being behind. Pride's ult isn't going to do as much damage, just purely because he doesn't have a tanky member to throw into anyone, because no one's tanky on Enclave.
Yes, but he does have Triforce.
He does have
probably
Triforce.
Just one-hit everyone. It'll just be a 1-2 punch. Good night. I do respect Enclave still looking for the plays, though. They're trying to find something, a pick, anything. There's a lot of shutdown gold on the top side of the map that could be unlocked by them. Bravado. He does have the stone plate now. You're not going to kill that Leona quickly.
Yeah, he's feeling something is amiss. He knows he has no vision. The observers did a good job of toggling that vision for us. It's all topside for Fnatic. They have nothing showing them anything that's going down around this Dragon Pit. Fnatic, they don't care about Dragon Soul. They're just going to win through towers, win through the lanes. Pride is hiding in a bush. Might just use that alcove for the moment, but actually, he's just going to jump onto air. Facebreaker comes down. Parallel Convergence will be used for a short shield and a stun, but Pride does not actually get caught by the stun, and air, he can't do anything there.
Yeah, this is a smart read by Fnatic Rising. Bravado did not force into the boss side of the river. Instead, he communicated this to Dan and Magifelix, and they're just going to keep pushing the top side. Yes, Enclave gained control of the mid area, but they're sacrificing so much up here. They're going to take the tower. They may well take this inhibitor as well, with only air to
No one's
protect.
recalling. They're doing Dragon, so Fnatic, they can take this inhib. They're actually going to back away because they don't know where everyone is.
They're assuming they would have recalled.
No, they're doing
Any reasonable team would have recalled at this point.
Oh, Pride goes in with the showstopper, slams Only Angel, it's a flash away. The health bars of Fnatic again a little bit low, but X-Matty remains untouched. A teleport's coming in onto the back line, and Pride picks up his 5th kill. It's gonna get cancelled out. Air just pinked away. Magifelix is on a rampage, and Fnatic Rising are just stomping Enclave in game 1.
I think that moment defines this game for me. TPing in, and then instantly like, oh, and just ulting back to base. Well, at least he got an execute. That's a consolation prize, but
Yeah, no feeding there.
it's a rough one.
Just a little bit.
It's definitely.
Someone had to face Fnatic first. And in this circumstance, it was Enclave. Fnatic, they are here to play.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
So how are you feeling about Pride from watching this game? Because, you know, you're a little unsure about him.
Yeah, I feel like he's had a good performance here. There was that little mistake in the early levels. Had some good team fighting on the set, clearly showing good knowing the limits of the champion. But again, I'd like to see...
Oh my lord, Only Angel's dead.
Happens so quick, I feel like there's not even much to talk about it.
Yeah, he just got blown up.
I feel like I'd like to see Pride match up against some of the other top laners in the league or another team. I feel like he's performed well, but you can only beat what's in front of you. And I think Enclave hasn't put up a ton of resistance this game. They've tried, credit to them. I'm not trying to put them down. It's just, it's been a hard skill disparity, and I think Fnatic Rising have shown they want to have the 3-peat. They want to win Spring and get the hat trick.
Oh, it's 20 minutes on the clock. 10,000 gold ahead Fnatic Rising are. Baron hasn't even spawned yet.
Here's one for you. What time do you think the game will end at? Just a minute. Just pick a minute.
I'm going to say 25.
25?
Yeah, I was going to say 24, but I'm feeling 25.
I'm going to say... 23.
Okay. 4 minutes to go. 3 minutes to go, actually.
I think next team fight game's over. I was even tempted to go 22, but that seems a little bit close.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Right.
But Enclave are going to win it 22. I'm joking. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see.
That'd be a really solid team fight. Scout of the Week is going to land. The Heathen does put up the wall, though, to stop this. As they are knocking on the door. Parallel Convergence is going to come out. Pride gets pulled in by the Infernal Change. Uses the Haymaker. Cleanser looking to run through him. Showstopper gets used. Dan pins him in place of the ulti, and Pride, he is dominating 6-1. Meanwhile, X-Man and Bravado just continue to knock away on that mid lane turret. outside the inhibitor. Fnatic now rotating towards this bot side of the map. They've got minions to work with, and they're going to look to try and crack open this turret here. Parallel Convergence is going to get used, but they're jumping in. The Solar Flare lands onto 1, lands onto 2. Dan is on a rampage, 4-0. Xmatty picks up another one, and Enclave, they are just sent packing. We might be on track for that 22-minute win. We'll have to see. Fnatic looking for a mid lane inhibitor as well as that bot lane inhibitor.
Should have said 22 at this rate, but respawn time is coming in. Enclave might try to put up a last defense, but they go into the inhibitor top lane. Triple inhibitors makes that Baron essentially free. Fnatic might well just play this one by the book and keep it safe.
Yeah, they basically can get Baron for free at this point. Enclave can't contest them at Baron because the minions will just push up. Xmatty jumping in, not going to get caught by the Parallel Convergence. Seeing the power of that phase rush on the Syndra just means he's so safe in this matchup.
Yeah, Xmatty on the Syndra. Is it Xmatty jumping in?
Yeah, that's the one. Well, I mean, he made sure he got out.
That's the later, actually. That might ruin my 23-minute prediction.
Ah.
Thanks, Enclave.
This is why I said 25 minutes.
Yeah, you predicted this.
Enclave could go for Dragon Soul. I don't know what the Ocean Soul's really going to do for them at this point. It obviously gives them a little bit extra regen to work with, but...
They'll take an extra, 0.2 of a second to die.
Yeah, it's like the regen's nice, but when you're all just getting blown up,
I feel
you don't have time to regen.
I think Fnatic are posturing around this dragon just to deny the soul, but I feel like you could just end the game. I guess they're taking 0 risks at this point.
Xmatty and Dan are going to pick this up. You can see the Knight's Vow on 2 Dan as well to make sure that Xmatty's nice and safe. Was running the double support here. I just feel this is going to catch this wave. 2 supers pushing in. The problem with Enclave is they don't really have the damage to kill these supers at the moment. And there's 6 of them per wave coming up. You can see the Pride is moving up through the mid lane, bringing another group of minions with him. The True Shot Barrage is going to come down, and the Haymaker just to clear out some of these minions. Air jumps onto Magic Felix, but now Pride looks to run him down. Air actually ults back into everybody, gets stunned out. The Solar Flare is going to be used. That's the culling. The Showstopper comes out by Pride. He's going to be able to get himself 1, get himself 2 already. The Knocker comes out. The Heathen, he can't do anything as Pride is trying to get the run through. Has to go golden for the shield for the moment. The Nexus is being focused out here. Darking not going to be able to find anything as Air. He just has to run back to the fountain, back to safety. Fnatic just padding those stats, and looks like it is all but done. 23 minutes on the clock. Fnatic Rising put on a clinic.
Called it.
You said 24.
I said 23. You said 25.
Yeah, no.
Everyone in chat will agree with me. I said 23.
Wow.
Nailed it.
You actually nailed that. Good job.
That's
good job to Fnatic more than Orcs. Let's be real. They're the ones that actually won there.
It's a dominating performance, and I want everyone to take a second before being really heavily critical of Enclave. Enclave have a fair few rookies on their roster who need time to develop. Cleanser and Air, they've had some play in the Nordics, but there's still a lot of development that could go through there. I think it's a very, very rough day one matchup. I think they need a little bit more time to grow and not face teams like Fnatic Rising. So hopefully they'll be able to show us that and be able to develop more as we go along. Fnatic, on the other hand, they look dominant. And that was what we expected.
We had a talk about this actually a couple of days ago where we were saying, if you're a team who's maybe a little bit weaker, playing someone like, we were talking at the LEC at the time, we were talking like playing G2 on day one is actually quite good for you. You get that loss and you learn a lot from that loss. So they've now, I don't know how much you learn from just losing that hard, but there is going to be stuff to take from that.
Yeah.
And they can watch back. There's plenty of mistakes they can look at and go, we made a mistake here. We can make a mistake. We made a mistake here. So coming into tomorrow, coming into next week, more importantly, they will have a little bit more kind of armed with them versus some of these teams who maybe have closer skill matchups.
Yeah. And I mean, tomorrow they're facing up against Phelan, which I feel like that's a matchup they potentially could win.
Yeah.
So if they go away from this and go, okay, we got exposed a little bit, Fnatic are an extremely good team. Here are some of the areas where we're lacking to a regard. They can try and work on that and go and discuss that with their coach before tomorrow. And then hopefully they could be able to find the win up against Phelan. And that put them 1-1 for the week, which is a pretty respectable score. But overall, Fnatic Rising showing us why they are are our reigning champions. Got through in the end.
Reigning champs got themselves a win. Here at the UKLC, we're going to take a quick break and we're back with game 2, which will be Phelan versus Barrage. You don't want to miss this one. We'll see you in a second.